In the heart of Nairobi, the sun dipped below the skyline, casting long shadows over bustling streets where ambition mingled with frustration. I stood at the edge of a crowded plaza, watching as a sea of youthful faces surged forward, holding their phones high like torches, illuminating a darkened path. This was more than just a protest. It was a declaration, a rallying cry from a generation tired of the status quo. As a member of Gen Z, I felt the pulse of change coursing through my veins. We were born into a world of rapid transformation, one where social media could topple regimes and economic uncertainty haunted our every decision. The older generations often dismissed us as entitled or distracted, but they failed to see the fire burning within us. We had inherited a legacy of corruption and mismanagement, and the time for change was now. The crowd roared with chants demanding accountability and transparency, their energy infectious. I joined in, my voice blending with thousands, each syllable a testament to our collective pain and hope. We were the architects of a new Kenya, one that dared to envision a future free from the shackles of systemic injustice. Behind me, the towering buildings of power seemed to loom ominously, a stark reminder of the entrenched elite who had long held the reins. My thoughts drifted to the countless stories of friends who had struggled to find jobs, their dreams crushed under the weight of nepotism and outdated policies. I felt a fierce determination bubbling up within me. We wouldn't just inherit this country, we will reshape it. In the midst of the protest, I spotted a group of young entrepreneurs, their vibrant attire a stark contrast to the grey suits of politicians. They spoke of startups and innovation, pushing the boundaries of what was possible in a nation burdened by bureaucracy. Their ideas flowed like a fresh breeze, inspiring us all to rethink our relationship with power and opportunity. It was clear that we were not merely fighting against the old guard, we were building something new. Social media served as our battleground, where hashtags could ignite revolutions and a single tweet could rally support across the nation. It was both exhilarating and terrifying to witness this transformation unfold before my eyes. The youth were no longer just passive observers, we were active participants in the political arena, wielding our voices like swords. As the evening wore on, the atmosphere shifted from one of anger to one of hope. We sang our national anthem with fervor, envisioning a Kenya where our rights were not just promises, but realities. Each note carried the weight of our aspirations, a melody of defiance and unity. In that moment, I understood that we were not just fighting for ourselves, we were fighting for the generations to come. This was our uprising, a tide of change that will ripple through the political and economic landscape, reshaping our identity and destiny forever. Together, we were ready to carve a path toward a brighter future, one bold step at a time. As the night deepened, the energy shifted from urgency to solidarity. Faces illuminated by phone screens glowed with a shared conviction. We knew this was just the beginning. Our protests weren't just about today's issues, they were about laying the groundwork for a new Kenya, where inclusivity and innovation thrived. In the weeks that followed, the uprising gained momentum. Social media platforms became our lifeline, connecting activists and inspiring dialogue across the nation. Memes morphed into powerful messages, encapsulating our struggles and aspirations in bite-sized pieces that resonated with a broad audience. We began to harness our creativity as a weapon against apathy. I became deeply involved, organizing online campaigns that spread like wildfire. Young artists shared their visions, musicians penned anthems of hope, and tech-savvy friends developed apps that made information accessible to everyone. It felt like we were crafting a digital revolution alongside our physical presence on the streets. But the road ahead was fraught with challenges. Skepticism from older generations often echoed in my ears. "You are too young to understand," they'd say. I would remind myself that change is rarely welcomed with open arms. We were faced with pushback, not just from those in power, but from within our own communities. Some feared the implications of our bold stance. Others questioned our methods. Yet I held onto the belief that every revolution requires sacrifice and resilience. One evening, as I stood in a makeshift strategy meeting in a friend's cramped apartment, the weight of our mission pressed heavily on my shoulders. We discussed the upcoming elections, our first chance to elect representatives who reflected our values. The excitement was palpable, but so was the fear of complacency. We knew that merely showing up to vote wouldn't be enough. We had to ensure our voices were heard long after the ballots were cast. "Let's not just fight for our candidates," I urged the group. "Let's educate our communities. We need to engage everyone, not just those who are already on our side." With that, we launched a grassroots campaign to host community forums, inviting speakers from diverse backgrounds to discuss the importance of participation in democracy. The turnout exceeded our expectations. Conversations flourished, bridging generational divides and igniting a spark in those who had long felt voiceless. As the elections approached, I witnessed a transformation not just in our peers, but in the entire fabric of our society. Conversations once reserved for backroom deals now thrummed in cafes, markets, and social media. The younger generation was no longer a silent demographic. We were becoming informed citizens, ready to challenge the narrative. On election day, I stood in line, surrounded by my friends and neighbors, the air thick with anticipation. Each vote felt like a strike against the old regime, a step toward a new beginning. As the results rolled in, we held our breaths, hopeful yet wary. When the first few announcements revealed victories for our candidates, cheers erupted. It was a moment of triumph, a tangible acknowledgement of our collective effort. But deep down, I knew this was just the first chapter of a long journey. We were at the dawn of a new era, one where the potential of our generation could reshape the nation. With every step we took, every challenge we faced, I felt the weight of history on our shoulders. We were not just participants in a moment, we were the architects of a future that belonged to all of us. And as the sun rose over Nairobi the next day, it illuminated a path filled with possibility, the tide of change, now irrevocably in our favor.